Hello there, my lovelies. Today I'm going to be making some outdoor fairy ornaments. So here I have 3 little fairy doors and 2 adorable little toadstools. So I'm going to start with how to make your fairy doors. So if you want to follow along at home, I will list off the materials you will need. Let's just pop these out the way first. Okay. So the first material you'll need is some clay. I'm using the Das terracotta air drying clay. As you can see, it's very moldable and very fun to play with. You can use ordinary white air drying clay, but as I'm using this for making doors with, I figured the terracotta colour might actually be better for this make. So I'll just pop you there. So the paints that I'm using to decorate my doors are the Crafters Deco Art acrylics. So I'll just bring in a couple to show you. So these are the Crafters acrylics, and I use them for pretty much 80 to 90% of my small craft projects. They're very pigmented and very good quality, and they pretty much cover most surfaces, so they're a good all-round paint to use. I'll also be using the Emperor's Gold Dazzling Metallic, again from Deco Art, and as always I will link all the items that I've used in the description box. I also have some Mod Podge, which is my absolute favourite material. Today I'm using 2 different ones. I'm using the Mod Podge Gloss, which will give it a shiny finish, and this also makes it waterproof and good for the outdoors. I also have a matte Mod Podge, which has seen better days, but I really like this product because it also gives a glaze finish, but this is a matte sealer, so it won't have as shiny a look to it if you're looking for something a bit more subtle. And last but not least, I have my plastic gems. I use these for adding a little bit of bling and accent to this make. So this is an additional extra. You don't have to use them, but I think they add a bit of sparkle, so I'm going to use these today. let's just pop these to one side and we can get on with making. First of all, you'll want to grab your clay, and if it feels a bit dry, then you can add a little bit of water to it, but you don't want to put a lot of water on it, otherwise it can get really sticky and soggy, and then it's not quite so easy to mould into solid shapes. So the idea for this part is to shape your fairy door. So you can go for a traditional round one or a square one, it's completely up to you. It's your design after all. So I'm just going to move these out of the way. There we go. So I'm bringing one in that I made this morning. So I've gone for a pointy fairy door, and this one's been drying for quite a few hours now, and it's pretty much ready to decorate. So before I do that, I just want to show you this particular door. If you want to make grooves or wood effect edges into your clay, you're best to do that before it dries, otherwise it's pretty difficult to scratch them in and it won't quite look the same. So I have my fairy door here. I'm just going to pop this out the way and we can decorate. Now I'm ready to decorate. I'm going to use a mixture of gold and brown. And this is going to be my base coat. Okay, so I'm just mixing the gold and brown together. Now, because my clay is already quite a brownish sort of colour, I don't have to put a white base over the top first. So if you're using white clay, you'll need to do a brown base coat if you're painting a natural looking door. Just to get the right amount of coverage. Okay, need a bit more brown. Just add a bit more. I'm also making sure to paint the sides of my door, and when I was moulding my door, I've made it about half a centimetre thick, because if you roll your clay out too thin, it will be very fragile and break easily, and because I'm putting mine in my garden, it needs to be quite sturdy. Okay, so that's the base coat. I'm now going to pick a thinner brush and I'm going to pick a darker brown to paint on a wood effect. Okay, so I want it to be quite subtle, which is why I'm painting it straight on top of the wet base coat. If you want a more, let's say, detailed and more obvious pattern on your clay, you'll want to let your base coat dry first. So I'm going to let this layer dry once I've finished, and then I'm going to add a second layer with a little bit more gold in it, and that should give me the magical wood effect that I'm looking for. I'm going to let this dry now, add my second layer over the top, and then we can add our final details and touches. Now it is touch dry. I'm going to add some greenery to our little fairy doll. Now you can do this in two different ways. You can buy artificial moss and stick it on around your door, or you can do what I'm going to do and use your crafter's acrylic to add some detailing on. Okay, so I'm going to grab my small brush once again and I'm going to pick a leafy green and just pop it onto my door like so, using little dots. So just dab, 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 dab. Okay. I've got some greenery. Some little vines growing up at my door. Okay, so just keep dabbing. Dab, 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 dab. Just going to mix a tiny bit of brown into my green. Okay. A bit more brown. The reason I'm doing this is because it helps to blend in with the brown on the wood door, because I don't want it to look artificial. I want it to look as natural as possible. be a very old and worn door. Okay, so there is our greenery. Now you can leave it as is, or you can add a little bit of colour if you like. So I'm going to go and grab my gold and add some little gold flowers. Okay, just change my brush. And again, you just want to dab very lightly with the end of the brush. Just remember to dab, dab, dab. Okay, I'm liking how that's looking, so I'm going to add my very last finishing touch, which is going to be a doorknob. So I'm going to grab a spare piece of my clay and I'm just going to roll it into a tiny ball. Actually, I think there's a bit much there. Let's get rid of some of that. There we go. Pop a little bit of water onto it and my doorknob is going to go just there. Okay, and to give it a bit of sparkle, I'm going to add a bead. Ooh, trying to escape. There we go, just press in like that. And when that part is dry, I will paint it brown to blend in with the rest of the door. Okay, and it is that simple. Obviously you can embellish and add extras to your door, but this is the very simplified version of how you can make a fairy door. So before I finish the video, I'm going to show you how to make your sparkly toadstool. So let's pop you out the way and bring back in our clay. So I need to split it into two parts, and for the first part you're going to make a sort of stumpy sausage. So okay, it doesn't have to look perfect or straight, because this is supposed to be a more natural looking toadstool. So okay, just make sure the base is wide enough to house the top part. So for the top you're going to need your second bit of clay and you're going to roll it into a sphere. Just like so. Okay. And then you're going to press your thumb into the middle of your circle, your sphere, sorry, just like that. And then you're going to mould it around your thumb, sort of like an umbrella, but a lot chunkier. So already you can see my clay has started to dry out a bit, so you do need to work quite quickly, but I'm just showing you as an example. Okay, So it's sort of like a cap. Okay. Now you can use a little bit of glue on the inside to secure it to your top. What I like to do is I like to pop some water in the middle and put a few scratches on the inside surface and on the top of my stump, and that way when the two bits of wet clay merge together they will bond a lot better. But for now I'm just going to pop it on dry just to show you. Okay, and then while it's still damp, you'll want to grab your gems and push them very gently into your clay. Not too far, just below the surface. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a couple more. Okay, so you can see how it starts to build up. Let me just bring my examples back in. Okay, so I haven't painted the bases on these just yet, but you can see how the top should look when it's finished. Now my two are completely dry. I'm going to paint the bottom of the stem and then I'm going to varnish them all over, and then they will be ready to pop into my garden. But you can paint them whatever colour you wish. You can have rainbow ones or sparkly ones even. If you mix some glitter in with your paint, you can get some amazingly cool effects. So just pop those back. Just bring in my door again. So it is that easy. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and as always I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.